Now move on to the 10-minute rule motion. 10-minute rule motion. Lead picture.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I beg leave to bring forward a bill to make provision about the installation and maintenance of and access to safety equipment at reservoirs to create an offence of damaging or destroying safety equipment near bodies of water, to make provision about the teaching of water safety in schools and for connected purposes. My son phoned me last week to share the news that he had passed his driving test for the first time of asking. Personally, I think the best drivers are those that pass it a second time, but there you are. This week, he dropped my talented and beautiful daughter, his sister, at school, and then took me to the station for the first time to return to this place. He carried on then to his sixth form, and the offers have started to come in from universities, and he has the whole world ahead of him. My children are my world, and seeing their remarkable achievements, watching them grow into the most amazing, special human beings is the most wondrous thing that any parent could ever hope and pray for. I'm sure that when the time comes, every parent awaits that call when their child passes their driving tests, gets their exam results, goes off to work or study for the first time on their own. No parent should await that call to say that you'll never see your beautiful baby again. No parent should ever outlive their child and have to say goodbye to them. And so, in what I bring before you today, I hope to start the process to prevent this from happening in those awful circumstances that I will talk about. So today I talk about Sam. Sam, who was a similar age to my son, who should have also had a whole life ahead of him. Sam, a 16-year-old who went out with his friends one day and never returned after tragically drowning in a South Yorkshire reservoir. I met Sam's father, Simon, at Thorn Fire Station last summer for the first time. He handed me the sweetest picture of his gorgeous boy, and he bravely retold that story of what had happened. I knew there and then that should I be honoured with reaching this place, that I would do something for him, for Sam's parents, and every family who has lost a loved one in a similar way. I want to begin by acknowledging the work that has already been done on this matter, both here and outside of Parliament, to campaign for what has become known as Sam's Law. In particular, I want to highlight the work done by my honourable friend, the Member of Rotherham, who has co-sponsored this bill, and Sam's father, Simon Haycock, who I know is watching today. In May of 2021, Sam had just finished his GCSEs. It was the summer, it was hot, and he and his friends, like countless of children and teenagers have done before them, found themselves a body of water and decided to go in to swim. When Sam got into difficulty, his friends tried to help. They found that the safety equipment was locked. They had to ring 999, and once the operator had verified that it was a genuine emergency, be given a code to unlock the equipment before they could use it. In an emergency like that, every second counts. In the wake of Sam's death, his father, Simon, has become a champion of water safety, going into schools and communities to talk about the dangers of entering open water and to campaign for Sam's Law. There were 141 deaths in inland open water bodies in 2023, with 1,455 over the last 10 years. That's about 146 people every year, most of them children and young adults dying. Search, rescue and emergency services respond to over 100,000 calls related to water rescues annually. And as we continue to have longer, hotter summers and more people are looking for ways to cool off, there is a risk that we are only going to see those numbers increase further. Those are worrying figures themselves, but the one that has struck home the most to me, Madam Deputy Speaker, is from the Royal Life Saving Society, who estimate that for every single person who dies through drowning, there were more than 10 near misses. That to me is shocking. That's too many near misses, too many people just one step away from leaving the world unnecessarily early. And that is why I'm proposing these measures today. First, to create a legal responsibility to provide, maintain and ensure easy and rapid access to safety equipment around reservoirs. Too many reservoirs do not even have safety equipment. Where there is equipment, it cannot always be accessed in a timely manner. It is frequently vandalised, an issue I will come on to in a moment, and not replaced or repaired. The equipment is often locked away, with a laborious protocol for access. Simon Haycock, Sam's father, has a simple, creative but game-changing plan for this, using state-of-the-art technology, and I hope to help him progress this concept into reality, saving precious seconds, saving precious lives. I absolutely understand why these protocols are in place, introduced to safeguard life-saving equipment, which is why we need to turn to the second point of this bill, to create a specific criminal offence for vandalism of safety equipment around bodies of water. It has become recognised that in some specific instances of crimes, while covered by a broader category, they are so abhorrent that they should exist as a crime themselves. We have recognised, for example, that assaults on emergency workers who are risking their lives to save others are particularly heinous. We have recognised that domestic abuse just can't be prosecuted as if it were a simple assault. We recognise that slavery is more than just kidnapping and forced labour. It is also time, and it is also recognised, that to destroy, damage or remove life-saving equipment, and therefore endanger lives, should not just be simply vandalism. Finally, this bill seeks to expand water safety learning outcomes in the national curriculum to include a requirement to understand the dangers relating to swimming in open water. There are already water safety outcomes mandated in national curriculum. I want to acknowledge the work of Lord Storey in the other place, pushing for the teaching of those outcomes to be mandatory at all schools. The Children's Wellbeing in Schools Bill, when it becomes law, will make sure that all children do receive that education, and this is certainly a major step forward. I do not believe, however, that the current learning objectives go far enough. At this time, they are around being able to swim and self-rescue. I don't for a moment suggest that having those skills is not important, but right now there is nothing in the curriculum to require children to be taught about the dangers of swimming in open water, the different risk it poses from cold water shock, invisible currents and hidden objects in the water. If you want to stop children, especially teenagers, from putting their lives at risk, telling them don't do it or saying it's dangerous just isn't the way forward. The best thing we can do is to empower people, give them the skills and knowledge to recognise risks and understand the dangers for themselves. Many schools already do this. They go above and beyond the baseline required teaching, working with groups like RLSS, the RNLI, the Canals and Rivers Trust. And I take my hat off to every single school that has done this, that have led the way, but now it's our job to lead the way, to make sure that that life skill and safety education is not just left to chance. There will be costs to landowners for adding and maintaining safety measures, but reservoirs are fundamentally different from most other bodies of water. They are not natural occurring, they are created. They are managed and operated as part of an intentional and usually profit-making enterprise. Therefore, I do not think it's unreasonable in these circumstances that those who own the asset or operate it should play their part in installing and maintaining life-saving equipment. At the end of the day, we are talking about people's lives. Not just the lives that are lost, but the lives of the ones who lose their sons like Sam, who lose daughters, who lose brothers, sisters, friends and partners. 146 deaths a year, but how many lives devastated by those deaths? How many lives changed forever? And how many until we do something different? Simon Haycock, Sam's father, has channeled his grief into doing something positive. But his words when I saw him just ring through my ears. It's the absence that gets you. 1 minute your son is there, looking forward to the summer holidays, and the next chapter of his life at college, and the next he's gone. From that moment that the first tear fell down my face when he started to retell that story, I knew I had committed to helping him achieve that goal. So I ask all members in this House to support this bill today, but more than that, to take up the proposals and principles it contains, to be alive to the need for change, and to be aware that there is more we can do and that we must do. Thank you.
The question is that the honourable member have leave to bring in the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Who will prepare and bring in the bill?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Callum Miller, Saoirse Eastwood, Sally Jameson, Sarah Champion, Dr Raz Savage, Jim Shannon, Ben Coleman, Andy Slaughter and myself.
Chair.
Yeah. Water Safety Bill.
Second reading what day?
20th of June 2025.
20th of June 2025.